Josh, just to vary things, can I ask you to read the mission and vision this time?
Sure. Turns out the solution to the owl was insanity.
That's right. Sometimes insanity works.
I need to.
Oh, okay, yeah, perfect.
Only seconds to maintain my consistency.
So we are broadcasting live? Are we live online?
We're live online. We are going to record the cloud.
All right. It is 5:41. We belatedly call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. First matter is a roll call. Will the folks online start us off? Aaron?
Yep, I'm Erin Fitzgerald, GC member. Aldo?
And has Tanya withdrawn?
I'm on hold, so I can say I'm here. I'm listening in, but I have to be on the phone for just a second longer.
Thank you, Tanya Rivers, Governing Council member. Will
Tracy, director.
Alexandra Tager, member.
Harry Brown, chair.
Joshua Rex, staff representative.
Jim McIntosh, secretary.
Jackie Riley, business manager.
Thank you all. Josh, would you do us the favor of reading mission and vision?
Yeah, Aldo Leopold Charter School mission. At Aldo Leopold Charter School, the human and natural environments serve as text and lab for learning through direct experience, inquiry, and stewardship. The vision. Aldo Leopold Charter School graduates will use the skills, perspectives, and information they gain at school to enhance their own lives and to advance social, economic, and environmental sustainability.
Thank you very much. I realize I called you Josh. Is it Joshua?
It's Joshua.
I'm sorry about that. Agenda review. You all have copies, I believe. Is there any?
I move that we accept the agenda as printed.
I'll second for purposes of discussion. Any issues? No. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Passes.
Did Tanya vote?
Is there any public that we can't see on Zoom wanting to comment? No. Move on to the review and approval of the minutes. Jim, do you want to table this item because of the crucial missing information at the very end? I think Will said there is a recording somewhere that we can find.
Yep. I think that's appropriate then, if that's the case. So moved.
Second to table.
Second.
The motion is to table approval of the March 4 minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Item is tabled. There is no student council representative. Where's Raven?
Raven just got back from the 11th grade trip and I believe has gone to practice some self-care.
Very good. We approve of that. Staff report, Joshua, you are on.
Hello, first time here at one of the meetings. So I have a few notes from people that I had pulled up and then I got an email from Apple. Just see here. Pull that up. So just a few things, in here I have a note from Jennifer in 8th grade. She was just talking about what's going on in ELA and social studies. They've been reading The House on Mango Street. They did some skits based on some vignettes from there, and they are now comparing 3 poems with similar themes. In social studies, they're doing research projects about historical events, persons, and movements. It was an idea of the students choosing and maybe significant to the United States. We're also doing that in 6th grade right now, where students have been doing a lot of more project-based learning. They have all the skills now. Now let's turn them loose. Remember their own science fair. Middle school will have a full science fair in the month of May. Here, I think it's May 12th. Backpacking prep is going on for 8th grade right now. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. They're looking at all of that. They're keeping self-care journals, and they've done some orienteering plus 8th grade specific scenarios and more prep to come, including scouting Sepio Trail. Will be coming that way. You just see what
Is that where all the groups will be headed out? Joshua?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
When you say science fair, it's this school only. It's not a district-wide or
Yeah.
region-wide, but
Yeah. This year I got to go and be a judge at the Southern New Mexico Science Olympiad. And I would love to like build up our science program. Like Allie has been getting me into a lot of science training. I was a good cohort. I got invited next year to be a part of it too. We're trying to really beef up our science program here. I use high quality instruction materials, and our school is being used, actually they're starting to ask that they get to record some of our lessons and use this as the model. So other people in the state can be trained.
who's they?
Building Science Leaders Network.
Right.
So I'll be teaching some science at this summer and recording some of those lessons as well, and getting out there. And you can see what else I have here from Allison Phillips. You could let them know that the high school art field trip to El Paso was super awesome. The local artists opened their studio, gallery does, and the students loved it. We then saw the Frida Kahlo exhibition at the El Paso Museum of Art, took the trolley and had lunch in downtown Plaza. And they want to invite all of you to the Aldo Leopold picnic this Friday at the Hearth at 5:30 p.m. So,
Tomorrow.
that's
Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
yeah.
5:30 p.m. Our students are going over there, a few of them in the afternoon to decorate. The decorations are beautiful as they've been working on it, coming together. Mr. Tecca says that the Aldo Leopold Charter School production, theater production of Just a Girl, an 80s slasher parody, will be performing at El Sol, May 1st through 3rd. Doors open at 6:30, show at 7, and Sunday, doors open at 12:30, and
Great.
then show at 1 o'clock.
And that's the show that they took to the state competition.
Yes, and they won
Best ensemble.
Best Ensemble. Thank you. Thank you for listening to that part.
Probably more than one.
No, I wanted to see the performance and I asked at the last meeting, hey, does anybody know? I actually wrote to Zach, so that's great to hear. Thank you.
And just a couple things from myself, just as a staff, a new person here for the last couple of years. I took it on of why did there be so many sixth grade teachers in a year? What happened there? And so as a former consultant, I like to look at that. And when I was handed the keys to the kingdom, I said, where was my curriculum? That you get to build it. And that's really hard. And so I had to like put things together. And one of the things I've been looking at is like, if there was another sixth grade teacher, anybody should be able to do this role. Not just a unicorn, not just a Mark Cantrell or a Joshua Vanderhoof, anybody. So finding those things that like, this is what sixth grade science looks like, social studies, math, and ELA. And that if I dropped in a hole, there is a list and everything in there for the next person. Because so successorship plans, been working with Allie now about like really beefing up our science and math, so that we have like high quality math and science instruction, and that you know what we're doing. We don't have to be reinventing the wheel every day. And also I've been taking on restorative practices this year in the middle school. We've been seeing a total culture shift in middle school. We still have bullying, we still have body shaming in there, but we're actually making the students be responsible for it rather than punishing them. So actually talking to the person, doing the peace path. We did this whole experience today where there's a big poster downstairs. You should come see it from Jennifer's classroom. The 8th grade health did all this collage on body image. And then since some body shaming happened in 6th grade, they all journaled for 20 minutes on what it's like to be body shamed or to body shame someone else. And they took powerful quotes from that. We read them out. It was really thick in the air, like hearing all this. The kids did the work. And then now all those quotes are around this poster.
Oh,
So you look at it, all these images, and it's really interesting to be with. So I got to sit with some 8th graders today talking about it. And then some of our boys that were body shaming wrote letters home to their mother about what they did and how it was. And they're going home to talk to their moms today about body shaming women. And then coming back tomorrow to say what it's like. It's not, they're not punished, they're not in trouble, but that's a good conversation they should have. So making them responsible and going home and having a conversation, rather than just slapping them on the wrist and everything. So restorative and accountable.
Excellent.
So that's that. I love being here. And
Good.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And also I'll say I've been working with Jackie getting my licensing up. And I've had to go back to other charter schools I've worked at and seeing how many charter schools fall apart and die. I'm having to get signatures from ones that no longer exist.
Yeah.
And
In this state?
One in this state, one's in Colorado,
Oh,
but then just looking at like other charter schools I knew about that aren't there anymore. We're on 21 years, so something's going really well. And it really would be great to look at what is going well that's keeping us alive like that, because this, like, we are a hub of something. And that just doesn't happen. There's something that we're doing, and I feel like we could be sharing that with people. So that's what I got.
Thank you.
That was a substantive staff.
that was
Yeah.
indeed. That was.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Business managers.
Cold stay.
Oh, yeah,
I've been here since 6.
but this is why we're so successful, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Back there.
Look no further in your search.
That's right. You've done your work.
I'll give it a couple months.
I think you'll be glad that you did.
And especially that 500,000, right?
That's it.
So going along with Joshua's good news and all his positives, we have very positive news in the financial report. I'm gonna start off with the smaller ones and then make it to the bigger ones. We got the delivery of our bus.
Yeah.
Yes. March 24th, we got our bus delivered and it's actually out there and it's being used at some of the trips. It is a little bit uncolored. We are going to discuss that at a later time.
Is that what wipes that?
So we.
Sorry, we're being recorded.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, yes,
The question,
yes.
did the bus company offer us any compensation for how late it was?
Did they drive it here for
They
instance?
actually drove it for us, but,
It's a
Oh,
softball.
sorry.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and we, Will and I got to meet the guy. He was actually really nice and he
Yeah.
apologized for that.
Well, he did mention that there were some medical
That was.
challenges and then it's like, oh, I better shut up.
Yes, so we could have either gotten the bus now or waited for it to get painted, and I figured we should use it now and then they can paint it during the summer. So they are gonna come back and get it, and then we will get it painted during the summer.
And we'll get it next March.
We'll get it next.
And we get to make the design that they'll
We get to
paint?
make our design and
Okay.
everything, yeah, yeah. So whatever we wanted
Is
it,
that, I suggest Adam Parsons be given the task.
yes, yes, he has his sponges and paint already.
Awesome.
And then, I think you guys,
Okay.
I think you guys remember, last year, we tried to buy a little Maverick truck.
Yeah.
And they denied it because of the seating. So we went ahead and bought a 2026 Ford Explorer 4x4.
Hmm.
So, last week, when we had to go up to Santa Fe, Will actually picked it up, so we also have that outside. So that's really nice. So that's an addition to our fleet. And then, we have some really exciting news. PED finally, adjusted their SEG funding. And actually use actual enrollment and program data, which resulted in a significant increase. The increase that we are going to be getting is $984,067.96.
Only took a little bit of encouragement, but
Wow.
Yes,
So- Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm floored because last meeting we were talking about a
Yes.
1.11%, quite memorable number increase. When does the SEG kick in? Is it after the 80th day or?
just keep, sorry, Jim,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the confusing two things. There's the unit value,
Right.
which had that 1.1% increase. What we received is small school adjustment
Okay,
because of Silver's enrollment following the 40th day,
okay.
Oh,
and so,
Now I under,
or the 80th.
following the 120.
The 120.
Average of 8120.
yes.
And since they were below 2,000 on average for the 40th, 80th, 120, they now are honoring the language in the statute of the small school adjustment and giving us that portion of our SEG, which will remove any possibility, not any possibility, will remove the risk of a deficit and us being close at the end of this fiscal year into a very tactical position moving forward.
And what is nice is that we thought it was gonna be applied like this following school year.
yeah.
No, they go back and then they started that amount in March. So to my,
Total surprise.
That's what floored me and, yeah.
yeah,
So am I wrong in I thought you did say SEGs. Is this, it actually is because of the small school adjustment?
Yes.
So
It's most,
okay.
it's a
It's a,
factor
okay.
in the
Okay,
SEG.
yeah.
No, no.
It's a 2 times multiplier for a school of our size.
Yes. So, to my surprise I kept asking, Will, do you know what this is for? And it was just really nice to see that amount. So, that is tied into one of the bars that we will review. And it's, so what I did, just for your knowledge, the amount is that big amount, 984,000. And then I just went down and applied it to anything negative that we had. So that's why it's like 5 pages long. So we have absolutely nothing negative in operational. Yeah, so it's so nice.
What a difference that
I'm
you.
sorry that we didn't give you time to digest that before you got here.
That is a heavy one.
I was looking forward to the surprise.
Yes, yes, we should have recorded you. But
And maybe Tanya and Aaron, we just don't know.
are you guys surprised? Surprise. So we have that bar to approve and you guys are more than welcome to look at it. We can always make changes later on, but I went ahead and just looked and just really looked at everything that was negative, even if we were negative like 47 cents. I went ahead and changed that just because we don't want to see anything negative in that. We also have a couple more bars. The other ones are because we had it in our revenue. And I'm just doing an increase so we can show it in our budget as well. So one of them is the universal free lunch. And that one is for 4,419. And then the other one is for capital improvement SB9 money. And that one is for 5,306.
Bringing the total to what, by the way? I can't remember. SB9, the cap.
Oh,
Oh, the total's not on there?
no.
Oh.
Let me see. No, it's not on there. It just talks about that one. So we have those, and then, yesterday we had our finance meeting. We do have our budget to submit to the state that is due May 20th. So we have decided to hold a special meeting that is, May 6th at 4 o'clock, where we will review, our salary schedule and also our budget. And then that way we can actually bring to the following GC meeting our budget so we can either approve it or deny it, hopefully approve it so we can submit it.
And the we is the finance committee and the director.
Yes.
Will we get that before May 6th or on May 6th?
I'm sorry to hear
Do we get that before the special meeting or?
to review?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm planning to, yeah. Yeah. I think that is it.
Are there any pieces that you can think of that the governing council needs to approve besides the salary schedule at this point? We did the calendar. I don't know why I'm feeling like there should be more, but I guess that's gonna be it, just the calendar and the salary schedule.
And the budget.
And the,
Well, in
Yeah.
order to approve the budget, we have
Yeah.
to approve those other
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
Is I guess where I'm coming from.
Is there any, I don't think this is what you're thinking of, but given this. It's not even a windfall, it's money that we deserved. It feels like a windfall.
Yes.
Is there any way, is this the appropriate time to think about stipends for staff that we talked about before and we said, it's a little tight this year. Is this the time to discuss that or is that later?
we can, it's worth noting that again, don't get confused with 2 different funding sources because the stipends from staff are specific for the OST grant. As they can't be used for any other items, and we were using them instead of additional funding for regular salary funding to use the operational money that was going towards salaries to offset the losses in other areas. Now that we are not in that situation and we're using the new SEG funding to offset those deficits, the discussion of how the remaining OST funding is spent before the fiscal year is up
Okay.
is back on the table.
Okay,
Very good, excellent.
yes, that makes sense to me. I think that's a very useful incentive, both psychologically and financially.
Yeah.
It's,
I love you.
Yeah.
I want to say, in general, the state's very wary, really kind of hawkish about paying for work done previously when the payment was not included in the contract. So, for example, the word bonus, is never to be used. And that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about stipends. But you have to be careful even with stipends if you're giving them retroactively. So
Yeah,
I just want to bring up that concern. It's something that the
But
state
it
has
could-
repeatedly told me is
it could set us up for
problem.
some increased generosity.
Right, well, and
next year, absolutely.
Right,
We can
next
write
fiscal
things
year.
in the contract,
Mhm.
then you're good. That's exactly right.
And so for the OST stipend option, that is still on the table and still above
Totally.
board because that was written
That was
into the
written.
initial grant.
That's right.
And the way that it was funded in the fall was based on a experiential ed out of school time formula in order to honor the grant. You can't pay people, you can't use that for
Yeah.
during school time pay. But say you did a City of Rocks trip, that would be accounted into the formula that you would receive at the end of the semester. And we wouldn't have that number until we know who actually participated in all of those trips. So it does still work out if that provides more clarification again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good questions.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Finance Committee did review the encumbrances and check report that Jackie gave us. We had no issues.
Can I ask just one quick question?
Yes.
I heard something about a special meeting on May 6th, and I want to make sure I get things on my calendar. Is that a governing council special meeting on May 6th or somebody else?
No, it's simply just for the finance committee meeting.
Okay,
And yeah,
okay, thanks.
You are always welcome to attend the Finance Committee. If you plan to, please let Will know so he can issue a quorum notice. Because if one more person comes from the governing council, that's a quorum.
I don't think I'll be coming. Thank you. Thanks for the invitation, though. It's finals
Of course.
week. That's stuff to
Yeah,
do.
and everybody, there really wasn't too much changes in any of we're still keeping costs very low. And all these numbers are gonna change significantly. You'll see like a huge, huge difference. Thank you.
It's worth noting that the Finance Committee couldn't help itself but to start looking forward to next year with the additional resources of some big ideas about how to spend it. So that's something that we've been thinking about, and the rest of the governing council should be thinking about that as well. I guess I'm going to say it's probably premature to mention any of those in a public meeting, but I thought we had a good discussion.
Yes.
By the way, when did we get word that we received, or would be receiving that $984,000?
When did we get word? We actually got a memo that, on April 6th. So it's already being deposited.
Wow, right.
And Jim, what was the number that you just said?
$984,067.96.
Thank you.
So that was a really, 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 really nice surprise to see that. So nice.
Okay, I have a learning question. Can I ask one learning question? So in the, what is this that I'm looking at? PO encumbrance by fund report. There's a REC 8 on there, like the Pecos Valley REC 8. I'm wondering what happens with REC 8 that doesn't happen with REC 10? Why do we choose REC 8 for whatever service that is? Like, I'm just curious about that since I work with REC 10 a lot. I'm just.
I can
Please, yes.
give a partial answer.
Yes.
The partial answer is that while all of the regional educational cooperatives offer some services, and you use the one that you're in, like 10, some of them specialize in certain things. And I don't know what REC 8 specializes in. Is that T or C?
It's Medicaid and they're out of Deming.
Okay, so apparently they specialize in this particular service. And so we use them. So there have been times we've used RECs up in Las Vegas, for example, because they're doing one thing that we need. Even if we usually, go to ours locally.
Okay, thank you.
So 8 was the answer. They're
Yes.
doing Medicaid for us.
Medicaid. And to be honest, my entire time of being in the finance department, I've only worked with 8. Always. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but because of Medicaid.
Maybe we're confusing PEC districts with REC districts, and 8 is ours. Just Deming
REC,
should be ours.
I feel like REC 10 would be ours, but PEC, I don't know about PECs. I don't know what that means, but yeah,
That's why I thought there might be confusion.
yeah, because our REC 10, that's the Southwest REC. That's the one that's in Deming, the REC. I was just curious. I don't mean to spiral us down into a rabbit hole. Just sometimes I see something that's somewhat familiar, but doesn't quite match what I expected. And I feel like that's an opportunity to ask a question. So
Thank you for asking.
Okay, is that it, Jackie?
That's it. Thank you.
Will, you're on for director's report.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jackie. Before, while the small school adjustment is the missing link of the Aldo funding formula that has now been returned and restored to justice, speaking of restorative practices. I do want to highlight the effort that Jackie has made we were on track to still finish the year in the green when there was a lot of possibility of that not happening. And so I just want to take a moment to highlight
Thank
that
you.
amount of effort that went into that, and
Thanks.
the creativity and collaborations. Thank you.
Have wrinkles now.
All right, director's report. Does anyone remember the color from last time?
I do, but I'm not gonna say a thing.
Well, hey, that's right. Thank you,
Okay, you're
Jim.
not-
Jim is never allowed to respond as he
Turquoise.
reviews them. Turquoise incorrect, but a good guess.
It's a shame sign.
Can I guess again?
Yes.
Aqua.
No.
Guess, but no. Anyone on the internet?
I was going to say salmon, but that's only because I like that one.
That's
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yep.
Oh, forest green.
Nope.
Ah,
Purple?
Please to engage.
Purple. I accept purple for
I
close
accept
enough. It was kind of a magenta-y color.
I want to review it.
What?
Review the color.
All right, we're gonna move on. So I thought this was a really fun photo that I thought really embodied a lot of the Aldo spirit and a piece of the culture here that we're seeking to develop. And I think this is again related to Mr. Reck's statement about what makes Aldo so special and sustainable is our circular nature. If you were to look at classic Western society, you would see things are often shaped in a triangle. And it's often well represented in the demographics of the folks that are at the tip of the triangle versus those that are at the base of the triangle. And it doesn't necessarily give everyone a voice in that format. And for the culture of Aldo that we're trying to foster here with both the students and the staff and the community, this idea that everyone has a spot and everyone can see everyone and no one is above anyone or better than anyone, but it's an open space. I thought that this, especially given that we are going to be abdicating Rich Hall in the future, to have a nice photo of the view and the
Yeah.
spirit of what we do here at Aldo. I thought
With
that-
cargo containers, which is also symbolic.
Precisely, precisely. Thank you for that. That was excellent. Excellent. So that was just a fun one. This is the middle school before they went on the City of Rocks trip. I commend all staff for making the effort to do the entire middle school in one City of Rocks trip.
Right.
And for the record, we will not be doing that again, but I commend the effort as it is purely too much to manage. And there is the old quality, having more can reduce some of the opportunity for small group development, one-on-one relationships, etc. Soak it in, moving on. All right, so a couple of things that I thought were really fun here to share. Aldo Leopold Charter School now has a debit card at First Savings Bank. We have joined the ranks of Cobre, Cliff, and Silver, and WNMU in having a card at the bank. And you'll see it on there. Everyone who, if you get one of these cards, Aldo receives a small financial benefit for each expense and for the initial setup.
Really?
And then this is Will Hawkins, Silver Consolidated School Superintendent, and I's press release announcement following the agreements to come towards the purchase of Jose Barrios Elementary. I really tried to get him to use a will pun for the title and he respectfully declined.
Share the social media response too.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Mr. Rex. That's a great consideration there. This was posted on all of Aldo's social media, which has again been an area of improvement, and a shout out to Miss Phillips for really taking that on and upping our professionalism in that category. And I also I appreciate all of the other previous efforts on social media, but having that be an in-house thing has really been a benefit to us. And so did Silver. And there was not a single entity from the Aldo posting or from the Silver posting that had anything negative to say. It was all positive. And so that's a good sign and highlights the collaborative nature and the mountain of work that it took to get to this point, and the fact that the community is very excited to see Aldo in that location. And the family of Jose Barrios is also very excited to see Aldo in that location, and they're glad that we're going to honor the name, and we will more to come in the future about how we will highlight the legacy of Jose Barrios Jr. and Aldo Leopold as well.
On that point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alice.
I was just gonna give Will a shout out for the amount of work that he has done to make this happen.
That's for sure.
Certainly that should not go unnoticed. And
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for that.
excellent job.
And now that we've built this, let's keep it to, I mean, it's easy to say that at a meeting.
Right.
The collaboration, you mean?
The collaboration in the era of good feelings, because I've been around long enough to remember when that didn't exist in the county.
Sometimes dependent on personnel.
I support that.
I talked with Bart Rosselli at the Silver City Museum, and he brought up, I didn't bring it up, he brought up their interest in helping us honor Jose Barrios Jr.
Yeah, I was just speaking to him about that very thing today.
Is he talking about perhaps a museum exhibit in the main hall? There's a women in medicine exhibit in there right now, for instance.
And they're gonna do one for Sixth Street as well. And then within Aldo, we're gonna do some, because we've been collaborating well with our museum here, and Mr. Roselli's been excellent. So we'll continue to build upon that relationship. All right, moving forward. As was described by Mr. Rex here, we do have a spring picnic tomorrow at the Hearth. This is hosted in an effort between the Aldo Leopold Charter School Middle School and the School Advisory Council, which is one of my other announcements, is that will be changed. That name will be changed next year into a PTA. In order as primarily as a piece of equity, as we have found that folks that are not already in the Aldo sphere do not understand what a school advisory council is, and it's a barrier to their participation and involvement in that. And a PTA is more ubiquitous in its understanding of what that means and what that does. And so we hope that by changing the language around that, we will have more parent involvement. Also, we have a committee called SHAC, which is required by states to maintain that name. And so there's a confusion in the language there, and so that should provide clarity.
Are you expecting GC members to attend? Because I looked at the calendar and I knew we had something that was going to be planned for the 7th, and I said, oh, that looks like it's off. You kind of tipped us off. So this is the replacement for what was going to be on the 7th. Okay.
Correct.
Is it on the calendar? Maybe it is now.
That's a good question. Can't say exactly.
When I looked last, I didn't see it, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it because of that.
And then if it's not, can you send a message to Ms. Hannigan? So, yeah. Ally.
No,
Ally.
well,
Yes.
it's state statute that says that each public school shall create an advisory school council.
Yeah.
Okay, you've considered the fact that that's what they're calling it, and we're okay changing the name?
Correct. It will still be an advisory school council.
Bingo.
It is purely, and I am more than willing to describe the chain of logic to the PET and honoring the intention of what the school advisory council is designed to do, while understanding that it's a barrier to those that don't have not been involved in this world before.
It's just surprising to me it's a barrier, since all schools are supposed to have this.
Yeah.
So people should be familiar with that term. But they're not.
They're not.
They're not,
Okay.
yeah.
There's just.
Well,
Alright.
and
Everybody knows
just,
what the PTA is.
yeah, just a point of just you know, if it's supposed to be called the Advisory School Council, why aren't we calling it the ASC? Why are we calling it the SAC? You know what I mean? Like, so I guess I'm just thinking like we could probably call it whatever we want as long as it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah.
I was hoping the
Precisely.
statute would say that, and it doesn't, so I'm hoping.
The name always turned me on.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And we have heard that from other folks as well.
Yeah.
Hence the decision to change.
But being around public schools.
I think it's a great idea.
Parent teacher conference.
Thank you.
I applaud the idea.
Okay, thank you. The next piece here, so yearbooks coming up. Antoinette has done an excellent job of leading our yearbook club to design a yearbook. We have wonderful, very professional photos. And one of the pieces as we make the transition into Jose Barrios with the photos, that staff are going to have formal badges, name tags with their photo on them. It's also part of improving our safe school plan as well. So in the event that we need to have a reunification or other event where identification that you're a school representative is required, it will be very helpful to have those. We have name tags now that are done as a stopgap until we have those completed. And now that we have the funding, that's a summer project. Okay, moving forward. I thought this was an interesting sort of dichotomy or juxtaposition here between some of the events that have been going on. Here we have Aldo student who raced in the Tommy Knocker 10, the last known Tommy Knocker 10 at Dragonfly Fort Bayard area. They're gonna pause that race for a while and potentially revisit it in the future. So we had a number of students, parents, folks involved, and we also had an alum who rode the race in order to raise money for Aldo. So it's been an appreciation to Zeb Rivers for his effort around that. Commendable and respectable, and we thank him for that effort. And to all folks that chose to race and represent Aldo with our beautiful Aldo mountain bike jerseys right there. And
He
then,
raised a lot of money.
yes,
Did he?
very good.
Yes, he did. Very
Oh,
good.
wow.
Do you know what the amount is? Is that okay to disclose?
I think there's somebody on the board who can tell you.
We can allow them to have the liberty.
Right, so it's not fully collected yet, so this is what I've explained to Zev, right? It's one thing to have people pledge the money, now he's gotta follow through on that, but he's expecting around $1,800 or maybe a little bit more.
Not
Fabulous.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I
Good
think,
work, Zev.
yeah, I think for what it's worth, I think there's an opportunity maybe for Aldo to take on that event perhaps and make it like a fundraiser every year, a big fundraiser. Can you imagine all the Aldo mountain bikers going out and getting pledges like a bike-a-thon kind of thing, and how much money they might be able to raise? I think I like that kind of idea. Is kind of exciting to me. That might be for the new PTA.
Yeah, it is an exciting idea, and I really appreciate your ambition. And then so over here, this other photo, we have community orientation had a trip to the Tyrone mine. They were able to learn about the process of metallic extraction from the crust of the earth. And it was a wonderful time to be had by all. And again, here at Aldo, we really emphasize the community involvement, and that includes all components of our community. And it's important to understand how all things work. And so the mine visit was really wonderful. All right, a couple other notes here. We have our strategic plan reporting. Again, I thank Dr. Anthony Smith for his willingness to stay involved with
He's still
Aldo
with us.
and provide some guidance around our strategic plan. So I'll do Tanya, go you first.
Tanya?
Yep, I heard you. It's hard to get the mute button. That's why I was just interrupting at first. So I was just gonna go back to the mine. I'm just curious on that mine trip. Do they talk about career pathways in mining and extraction? Is that something that they explore while they're there, or they just what is the big overarching themes? Yeah.
much to my chagrin, I was not able to attend the mine tour this year. I was really hoping that that was going to be a possibility, but due to the other distracting roles of this job, I was not able to be there. And so I cannot speak with full integrity around the messages that were sent from from Freeport McMoran down there at the mine. I do know that they send representatives to our high school, all school gathering, probably about maybe a month ago now or close to it, to discuss internships, career options, and how that can fit into where students are at on their own academic journey. So they do offer that, and I'm not sure if that was included in the community orientation tour experience.
Gotcha. Thanks.
All right, so strategic plan report. This is there's sort of two prong on this. I mean, one is like this student and staff. We are in the process of completing our formal evaluations of employees. After all observations have been done, as per the PED requirement and the Aldo staff handbook, every teacher has received at least one formal observation. Some have received more than that on a situational basis. And we're taking this time to engage in the reflection and a collegial discourse around how things are going. It's based upon, these formal observations are based upon a form that I created in components that I think are really valuable, and as well as the New Mexico Elevate teacher assessment platform, which we are using as well. So we're ticking those off one by one and then attempting to, it takes some time because I want to give folks the opportunity to really sink their teeth into it and have a further conversation if needed. And that's part of the continuous feedback system for our strategic plan. Also, shout out to Maya Cheney for her excellent work in the adjusting our debrief and student feedback structure following experiential education trips. And an example of that from the staff perspective is following the City of Rocks trip. There was a debrief, and great learnings came from that debrief for sure from staff perspective, and the students are experiencing that as well. So we're continuing to work on that, and I think the word refine is a key phrase in this outcome, because it's not a finite process. It's an infinite continual effort to improve. Current enrollment at Aldo's remains stable at 183. We have not had any fluctuations or shifts since our initial early in the year adjustments. And so that's, I think, a really great indicator of how the culture has been positive. And we have our lottery in process right now. And so we're agreeing to accrue students that are interested for next year, which is helping forecast some of our staffing and how that will all look. Facility update, as was revealed earlier, we have publicly announced our intention to purchase Jose Barrios Elementary School, and we are in the closing process with the NMFA. This is new for all entities involved. So all of our representative councils are in the discussion to make sure that we stay above board, and we will have approval from the PED, PSFA, and the Department of Finance, amongst a few other entities. And Jackie and I are working together to complete a couple of our necessary tasks, like an environmental study and ensuring that our agreement with our planned contractor is as it needs to be, because it involves both Aldo Leopold Charter School and the New Mexico Finance Authority. So there's a little bit of nuance in this, and there's been a lot of work to get to this point, and there's a lot of work continuing, and there's a lot of these details matter quite a bit.
Does NMFA select the contractor, or does the school? Okay.
We select the contractor, and the contractor must be a state approved. We're going through CES and choosing our contractor, and we engaged in this process many months ago, and now we have chosen the entity that we would like to move forward with. That's Mevicon LLC out of Las Cruces.
Did they do the
Yes, they did.
yeah. You anticipated my question.
So even when there's CES and thus pre-qualified, I think you need to ask the governing council if the contract is above 60,000.
Right.
Okay.
And we will when we get to that point. The only reason why we haven't done that is because the representatives of Silver, NMFA, and Aldo all would like to review the agreement prior to it having that opportunity for governing council approval.
And just to add to that, though, the reason that we do go through CES is because that way it saves us time. And we don't have to go through an RFP process, and that would just take a long time.
Totally.
One of the challenges is just a reality of receiving a loan of this sum. And it's very helpful that we have received small school adjustment is that we have to provide a year's worth of loan payment as a deposit at the start. And so not only is there are going to be a number of costs that are incurred as we make this transition initially. Paying for our own, it's an MSP, our own internet provider. We will be able to use some of the infrastructure left behind by Silver. But we will have to do some of our own stuff as well due to the rules of E-rate funding that Silver Consolidated used for their service provider. And so Jackie and I are working on those steps right now.
So much,
Yes,
so many things.
so many things. Funding, so one of the funding updates is we are working with PCS&M, Public Charter Schools of New Mexico, to ensure a robust backing of small school adjustment for the future. And I'll leave it at that. Sort of related to the funding and is the staffing, as was described in the previous governing council meeting, that we intend to add some staff roles. And we will be making the job postings for those roles in potentially by the end of next week, as we work things out. And these include things from math, STEM support folks, career technical education teachers, possibly expanding our 6th grade
Yeah.
teachers.
How,
We,
when you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just curious about expanding the 6th.
Yeah, that's.
happening.
Yep, depending on enrollment and need,
Okay.
we would really love to do that.
You can't really, you've got to wait a little further into the lottery results before you create that position. Because it could be bad if we have 16 people sign up.
Precisely. So we are receiving, a fair bit of lottery
Yeah,
input, and so
okay.
then we'll see where that is. As was highlighted before, City of Rock trip, awesome job by the staff. Lots of moving parts. I commend the effort. Ton. Many of folks were out there. It's great. 11th grade trip, the micro to macro science trip just returned at the start of this governing council meeting. They were in Cochise Stronghold, the Biosphere in Tucson, University of Arizona, and a number of other wonderful spots. And then as Mr. X highlighted, the El Paso art trip was a great success, and that received really positive feedback from the entities that were visited and from the students that were engaged in that trip.
So instead of Tucson art trip?
Do both.
Oh,
Do both. So a Tucson art trip and an El Paso art trip.
Wow.
Yep. And this are just some fun photos. Nice view of Cooks Peak here at City of Rocks while students were involved in a mountain biking rotation led by head mountain bike coach Nathan Shea. And over here we have some YCC crew members working on a YCC project. And there's only so much space that I can include in these slides that I won't add any more than that.
that part was Freeport back where I,
No,
they had.
you would have on
service.
you would have on the orange vest for that. And that will do it. That will do it. Yes. All right. That does it for me. Thanks, all.
Thank you, Will.
Yes.
Questions?
Questions for Will?
Questions?
Not seen any online. Folks. Will, I wonder if you'd be willing to project the OneDrive.
Yes, I would. Pull it up first.
Can you receive this or?
They've been in OneDrive folders. But no, this one, the old business, yes, you've had time with it.
Right.
The new business, you haven't had time with it, except.
Thanks again, Josh.
I see the checking. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you, sir. Have a lovely evening.
Hi, Josh.
All right. So these would be in which folder, Harry?
To keep going down, there it is, policies for approval.
One more down.
Oh, you were so
Keep going
close.
down.
So let's start
There
with the one that is, okay, there were two there I was gonna point out, but hang on, that's
There we
okay.
we're not sharing the screen yet, so I want to get the right thing and then I'll share because I don't want to reveal anything to
Okay,
the greater
well,
world.
so can you make it so I can see Aaron's face?
Yes, I believe so.
Aaron, Jim spent some time working on the policy for appropriate school conduct. Do you mind if we just focus on the version that he submitted? You had raised some questions about that other version, but I think Jim has answered everything.
Yeah, and I felt like in that meeting most things were clarified and it was mostly just a misunderstanding about the actual policy and what it was embodying.
Okay, great. I didn't want to ignore your work, but
Yeah,
so
thank you.
now if you can share what you just opened.
This one? Okay. Which one will do it first? There we go. There.
So,
All right, and then I will share the screen.
Is it problematic that I sent that out as a Word file? Like,
Okay.
it's just much easier to edit and then we can,
made it easy for me.
Not at all.
It's already been put into OneDrive. What, that's a Microsoft product. Word is a Microsoft product. They play together perfectly. So sending it out as a Word document is,
yeah.
to me, ideal. So Jim did a lot of work on this. It looks, to my eye, a lot better than the prior version. I have nevertheless made a few changes that are highlighted here. And I think it's ready for approval. So perhaps we can just take time for the governing council members to read it.
This is so trivial, but
Yeah,
are the red additions or subtractions?
if it's a red strike through, it's a subtraction.
Yeah.
If it's a red underline, it's an addition.
Well, reusing and or refusing and using have no ease in them.
No. It has misinterpreted what I did. But
I was wondering, it's like.
mainly because the ing isn't crossed out and is supposed to be crossed out. In each case, it needs to be something that goes along with if they do any of the following. Use physical force.
Yeah, okay.
Care,
I would change the sentence before it, honestly, to make it simpler, because I went for the parallelism of the ing because that's what was in the document, but
Yeah.
I agree.
well, I am baffled. On my screen, it showed those crossed out, including carry or possess.
Hmm.
And I don't know why they aren't now. So that's weird. I don't
Nah.
care which you do, Jim.
No, let's just get rid of the ing. I think that's actually simple.
me,
Now
I
that I
like
look
it.
at it, yeah.
Yeah.
I follow you there, totally.
You know, when I need to. You folks online seeing this document reasonably well? Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tony.
Do you want me just to get rid of the INGs? I can just do that.
Yep. You skipped the carrying or possessing.
I'll go back.
Okay, thank you. Those ones that are crossed through, you could go through and accept them all, but you can do it however you want to do it.
Hi. I mean, I was gonna do this not so that you all could watch me do it, but so that we could move on. So you.
I'm willing to consent to the idea and not
I'm
worry about it.
reading it, so.
I go too far?
Yeah. Good that I didn't catch that.
You ready for Will to scroll further?
And you didn't like the red one, the facility use permit?
I did,
Oh,
but when you'll see the next, when Will scrolls one line more. There we go. So the fourth bullet, what is currently the fourth bullet says assigned in the permit. There was no context for what was meant by in the permit,
okay.
so I moved number 4 up to number 3.
I shuffled the items around, just thinking of priorities. My own, like firearms are really important to me, so I moved it up. Sorry, but I see what's going on there. Yeah. Since-
Good. Yeah, you'll see that I added that we've passed it today. And I added the date that the policy
Yeah.
committee passed the prior version.
But it wasn't passed, was it?
Well, not in this form,
Not
but the
this-
policy committee passed the one that you saw to begin with.
Oh, but we didn't like it.
We didn't like it.
Okay, now,
Right.
okay, makes sense.
So Tanya, you do not have to work at that. We can go back and just accept the changes. One
Okey-dokey.
fell. Any discussion of the content? I would entertain a motion to approve this policy.
So moved.
That was Tanya.
Yep.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Erin. All those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. The second old business, we kicked the can a couple of months in a row on reviewing the current year's budget. As a result of having kicked the can, we don't have to review the current year's budget. Since it is now totally in the clear.
I thought we did last meeting at some length.
Not what my notes reflected. How's that? It doesn't matter.
Well,
In any
that's
case.
what, let's
Just
consult
doesn't-
it. Okay, but in the minutes, there's some. Okay,
but that was, it was discussion of the budget.
It was
wasn't
discussion,
a
yeah.
budget review.
I thought,
I agree with that.
okay,
We did not go through, for example, all the functions and say, are we gonna be positive? Are we gonna be positive?
okay.
Apparently I had something more in my mind that I didn't communicate to you. Cause I
Because I
left,
thought that's why we did that. It was sort of out of order even in the agenda. This is not worth taking up
Okay.
time for. I just misinterpreted what we were doing.
well, good for us. For what it's worth, we were actually supposed to review it twice.
Yeah.
Wasn't it on your little checklist?
Yes,
Sorry, I
that's
called it
exactly
little.
right. It was on my big
I
checklist.
belittled your checklist, I
It
apologize.
was indeed. So, based on the bar that we just approved, I believe we have effectively reviewed the current year budget to ensure that we finish the year with no negatives, which is what was on the big checklist,
Okay,
big important
Big, important.
checklist.
yeah.
And so whether or not we did it last month, I'm personally satisfied that we have done it.
Okay,
Does that work?
I'm satisfied.
Works
Okay.
for me.
Thanks, Jim. So we can move on to new business. And I marked action by these policies, but I shouldn't have. Because we typically have a month to read them and then approve them following month. Will, is there any reason that we have to approve these in April?
No reason,
Perfect.
no reason.
Then I would like to call all of your attention to the fact that there are 3 policies
Okay,
apart from the 2 versions of the conduct policy in our OneDrive that Tanya created. As you can see, it's the governing council folder, documents folder, policies for approval folder. There's background check, there's reference check, and there's school safety drill. They are, I would call them pretty straightforward. The school safety drill is incredibly straightforward. But I would like you to be prepared to discuss and approve next meeting.
Will do.
Okay?
I sort of panicked when I saw the agenda because I thought, I didn't look at these. Did I miss the memo? So.
No, you didn't miss
We're
them.
good. Okay. All right.
Yep. Okay. Action, bars. We have 3 bars that Jackie has explained to us.
I
I'll
move
take,
that- sorry, I
Go
move
ahead.
that we accept the bars as printed.
Second.
yeah, you can just nod. Seconded by Alexandra.
Parliament.
Seconded for me by Alexandra, yeah.
Any discussion? Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Approved unanimously. Thank you, Jackie. That was an unbelievable amount of work on that.
You're,
That big? Yeah.
everybody can feel my
Operational
thoughts back
fun.
if you want to. I,
Great job.
yeah, it took me like a good 5 hours.
That was incredible.
And my eyes were like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
My eyes do that even just looking at it.
A future reference, should you wish to reduce your stress,
no, you're gonna tell me an easier way?
all that the state cares about is the function level. Every single item doesn't have to be positive.
Really?
What has to be positive is the 1,000 level,
Well, that's what I thought
the
too.
2,000 level, etc.
No, that's what I thought too, and I asked Justine. She's my go-to, and she says, no, she says, we wanna make them all pretty, and I'm like, okay, I want it pretty.
If you want it pretty, you can
No,
spend the
yeah.
time.
No.
I'm telling you what I've already
Yeah.
duked this out with several auditors,
Wow.
and
okay.
I'm right. It's
Yeah.
in statute, and even the auditors don't always know that.
In light of our improvement plan, though, is Jackie's strategy advisable? You know, when we renewed our,
Don't ask me, 'cause
Oh,
I'm sorry, I've already given you my answer.
okay.
Jackie
Yeah,
might consider
yeah.
it advisable. Justine obviously considers it advisable. But I'm happy to, like I say,
Yeah.
duke it out with any auditor who questions that, because that's what the law requires.
Jackie's a lover, not a fighter.
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
If you like knots in your trapezius muscle.
Yeah, I, you know, I honestly,
See,
like, I
Sure,
could feel it, like, all, just from. But it was worth it.
All right,
It was like a happy knot.
awesome.
Never heard it called that.
So. GC input,
I've got a couple things.
go for it, Jim.
Some of them are just questions. What time is graduation? It wasn't on the calendar unless I failed to use some subscript, but I couldn't tell. I can tell you.
Sure, we'll do it first.
Excellent question.
It is an excellent question.
Well, I'm intending,
I don't even,
it's the 23rd, I know.
yes. That part I know.
Did you say you were not attending?
I
I was shocked.
I think she will.
Have a special reason. for that.
Yes, indeed.
I see 1 PM on there. It's,
1 PM.
One,
yeah, I see on the calendar, I'm looking at the calendar, I see 1 PM, high school graduation, May 23rd. Does that sound right?
At the fact.
Correct, at the.
oh, at the fact,
At the fact.
right.
At the fact, yep.
Tremendous venue for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seniors meet in Pete's room at noon. That's all the information.
Okay. Jim, you had more than that.
No, not a ton. Just looking over my little notes. I was just curious about and I totally understand the cancellation of the Mexico trip. I was wondering, was that decision made because of insurance factors? Was it something that you made as director? Was it like a staff decision? Just curious about how the decision was made.
It was definitely, akin to the initial circle analogy. It was a collaborative effort
Yeah.
for sure. Ultimately Maya Cheney and I made the final call for a
Yeah.
few reasons. One, is the implicit risk of traveling internationally during potential civil unrest, even if localized to a different region. From a programmatic risk management standpoint, when you already are traveling in a foreign country and there is you know, you're thinking about the subjective and objective risks, and if you have a Venn diagram of that, when you start to have things overlap quite a bit, it's a good time to reassess, and so that was a huge factor as well. Also had a number of parents and students that communicated that regardless of what Aldo did, that they were not going to attend due to the perception of what might be going on in Mexico. And for many of our students and for many of our families, the travel to Mexico is a novel experience. And until you have become familiar with international travel, you have different various levels of comfort. At the end of the day, it's simply not worth it. It wasn't worth it. And we were able to have an alternative plan because that had been discussed prior, and so it was relatively easy to pivot. I say relatively, it's still a lot of work to pivot, and again, Maya Cheney gets all the credit for that. But that was sort of how the decision was made.
I asked that not because I had any objections at all about the decision, but just thinking about process, because I know we canceled the Mexico trip in 2020 for COVID, and the process wasn't entirely satisfactory. I think the right decision was made. But process is really important with a major decision like that. That's all I was thinking about from a risk management perspective. And I noticed when I was trying to look up the staff members that there are a lot of staff members who aren't on the webpage. It's not a crisis. I don't know who's in charge of the webpage, and I don't want to give you another job, but I did notice I kind of like looking at that. I read the ones that are there, and I think it's a gentle advertising tool for letting the community know what we're about. Just some input.
100%. And this is it's a great reminder that I missed the piece when I was talking about our staffing roles for next year. And that is that we're going to have a part-time IT person.
Nice.
Who
They
can-
actually got
who can
it.
then manage this.
I know it was on your wish list. So good.
Yes.
Good then.
Very excited about that.
And the last thing, when do we want to have the next facilities meeting, and what would the purpose of it be?
There's too many things to report. I always miss them. So today I had another meeting with the head coach of the WMU football team. And the WMU football players are going to assist us in a series of efforts to make the move over to Jose Barrios. And in collaboration with Silver Consolidated, they are going to free up the building B, which looks like a gym from the outside and is essentially an auxiliary space, so that we can use that as an initial staging area to get some things over there ahead of time, which make the process easier because Silver is bound by their initial contract with their moving company, which occurs in mid-July, and we want to have as much of the transition completed as possible prior to that window, because we intend to be out of Rich Hall entirely by the end of July. WMU would like to charge us a fair amount of money to be here in the month of July, which I will request some flexibility upon to their Board of Regents, and whether or not they decide to honor that or not is up to them.
Okay.
More money than, what do you mean, just the regular amount of money or?
So there's a few things here just to provide the historical context and reasonable for the written record and the public to be aware of that. Although Leopold Charter School has paid $120,000 per year in lease to Western New Mexico University, and my predecessor, as a gesture of goodwill, offered an increase to $150,000 per year in alignment with our lease assistance program, PSCOC lease assistance program. And then, not long after, we received notice that our lease would not be renewed. And so when I met with WMU leadership, albeit brief and informal, I requested that the additional $60,000 that WMU has received over the last 2 years, that was not asked for nor required, would be considered in providing some flexibility for our time to free up the space. They initially wanted $15,000 for the month of July, and then we're willing to go down to $10,000, and I will request a more modest figure. And at the same time, if that is not well received or considered, I will pay what is appropriate, as I do not intend to damage any relationships. But I think that historical context is relevant for people to understand, and that is the extent of the process so far.
So when do we want to have a facilities meeting? I appreciate what you said. Well, it's all data. I'm gonna be gone. We also lost one member of our committee, Bridget resigned. And we also need to get a new GC member. That's been on my mind, but more immediately, I would be able to, organize a meeting on the 28th of April, which is the fourth Tuesday. I don't know if we want to do that. I can't call the calendar up on my screen, unfortunately.
Do you need a calendar? Would you like to see a calendar?
Yeah, I can do it on my phone. I just need to turn.
I'll write that down for consideration and then
Okay.
let's discuss with the finance committee when they're available and see if that works for them. And if so, we
Facilities committee?
Facilities,
yeah,
my apologies.
Yeah, okay.
Good questions.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep, I think that's it. Thank you.
Other input?
I'll just reiterate my ongoing input is that we need to add another GC member, participation.
So I have a question about that. What's the process for that, Alex? Are you a committee person? Because I know you kind of reached out to me. Shall I give you some names of people who I've talked, or a name of a person I talked to that might be interested, and then they can talk to you for more information, or how do we do that?
They can you can give them my email address and I will send them the information about applying in the process and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I give them a chance to read that, and then if they're interested, we can dive deeper.
Okay, I'll connect you via email, like a little email. You know the person.
Okay.
But I'll do the email thing. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Tanya or Aaron, anything to bring up?
No.
I will be a broken record about training.
Yeah.
You have exactly this month left, according to the PED schedule.
We don't have any days in May.
That's not, I didn't see it. I've called it up. Saturday is a chance to get 2 hours. This Saturday from 10 to 12. The following Thursday is a chance for an hour. And a week after that, that following Wednesday, the 22nd, is a chance for another hour.
But they can't just be hours, right? They have to be like within a certain bucket, right?
In other words, you can't repeat subjects. If that's what you're asking, that's true. The hours I'm referring to do cover all the different buckets.
Okay.
The the PED, the Charter School Division in particular, has vastly improved this in terms of making it easy for us. Are you sharing that, Will? Or am I to say?
For your review of validity. This is from PCS&M.
End of year governing council training with Kelly Callahan. We have not paid for that. We decided
Yeah.
explicitly this year not to
Fair
pay for
point.
that.
Fair point.
Because we had no money.
I forgot.
So we really have to go through Charter School Division. At this late date, I suppose we could contract with PCS&M, but I don't think we should personally. Because I think this will cover it. But
I'm not gonna.
no, do you want us to pay PCS&M?
No, I don't. I'm just not, I'm gonna have to do something else on my own.
I am too.
Like what?
Like a Canvas course or something.
I don't believe, I don't recall there being anything like that. We can hire our own trainers. We can actually train our own trainers. And they can count for hours, but we haven't done either of those two things. We can use PCS&M. We can go to specific trainings, which are generally at conferences that we have not gone to. You two both have an extra hour already.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we need all of this,
Yep, okay.
because that's all that's left.
I'm not gonna be in
Yeah.
here.
Does somebody have an account? Is somebody keeping track, or
They keep track at the state.
can I ask somebody like, hey, can you just check in? Cause this is what I think and I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I will find that person's name, Tanya, and get it to you. I don't want to do it at this moment.
Okay.
Okay, that's me being a broken record. I'm done.
What time's the?
Sorry, let's go back. Wednesday, the 22nd is from 3 to 4 p.m.
And so you must be getting this information from somewhere. Is this coming from a website or you got an email?
Yes, this information comes from the website. Let
Did you receive an
me tell
email
you that
about it?
website is at the PED.
Yep.
Bureaus.
Yep.
Well, there we go. Options for parents and family.
Yep.
Charter school trainings offered. And then it'll download a Word doc and you open the Word doc.
Okay, got you. Would it be helpful? Maybe I can put that in a folder somewhere.
Feel free, obviously, that sounds great. Do know that you need to email them if you intend to attend. That
Right.
way they know to send you the exact link that you need. You can't just expect to show up at that hour and log on.
I'll put it in our governing documents. I need it in a place because I'll never find it again. So it's for me and anyone else who's like that.
What are you putting in there?
I'm putting the governing board schedule, training schedule.
Can we put in the website to go to too? What is that?
I'm sorry.
Uh,
Need to send you that website?
The one we have to sign up at, yes.
You don't sign up at the website, you actually send them an email, but
Okay,
this will tell you you just send it to charter.schools.
And it's at the top of that schedule is that email address, and that schedule is now, if you just go to our governing council documents, it's right at the top.
Thanks, Tanya.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, we are going to go into closed session to discuss limited personnel matters. In this case, it's the evaluation of our director. I would like to invite Will to stay for at least the beginning, maybe for the whole thing. We'll decide as we go. But we'll shut off the public portion. Stop recording. Oh, by the way, before you pause it, there will be no action taken after the closed session. We will adjourn the meeting after the closed session, so anybody watching this doesn't have to wait. They can count on us not to take any action. Thank you. I think we're ready, and Jackie, you can go enjoy your family.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Pausing. You can actually stop it because you're
Yeah.
not going to be coming back to take action.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie.
No, thank you. Will you take away this owl, the new one?
Yes,
New one.
please. Yes. And then let's get that thing prepped just in case we have another owl.
Yeah, I think you have to
fiasco.
download